If you're already at a pretty good level with your video business, you're doing more than $10,000 per month, and now it's time to start thinking about hiring, then this video is for you, because hiring is a very problematic topic. Everybody needs it if they want to grow their video business, but pretty much no one knows how to properly do it. So in this video, I'm going to break down how you should hire, who to hire, in what order, and what you need to make sure of when you actually start doing it. And by the way, if you're not at 10K a month yet, then go check out the other videos on my channel where I explain how you can get there first. So when I started my own video business in 2016, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea of marketing, sales, or hiring, or business in general. So I just started because I was good at making videos. And over the years, when I started making money, right, that was when it was time to hire people. And I made one crucial mistake at first, because when I hired my first employee, I hired a salesperson. The reasoning behind that decision was that I did not like doing sales, so therefore I'm gonna hire somebody who does sales for me and I don't have to worry about it. Well, that thinking is completely wrong, and you should never ever make that mistake, because you should always hire for the thing that takes you the most amount of time currently. And usually for a video business owner, that's editing, right? And it's definitely not sales, because we as video business owners, we all neglect sales and we don't really like doing it. So I thought, oh, let me just hire this other guy so I don't have to do it. But that's the wrong thinking, because then I still was sitting there needing to do the editing and stuff, and I was completely dependent on the salesperson. And then the worst case scenario happened. That guy actually did not close any deals. So I ended up in a position where I had to do all the work, and then I also had to sell because my salesperson didn't do the sales work properly. And therefore, I ended up in a worse situation than I was in before that. So your key takeaway here should be always hire for the number one thing that takes you the most amount of time currently. Now, at a later stage, when you're doing great money, you have team members for everything, that is when you start hiring for things you do not want to do. But in the beginning, when you start hiring, always hire for the thing that gives you the most time back. So once I made that mistake, I realized it, I learned from it, and I moved on. And then I started to hire properly. And my first proper hire was then an editor. And as said, that's usually the case because most videographers spend like 20, 30, 40, 50 hours a week on edits. And once they have that editor in the team, suddenly they have all that time available to generate new business. Now, I do understand that generating new business, doing sales and marketing is probably not your most favorite activity, but it's the activity that brings your business forward, that takes you to that next level, allows you to generate more cash flow and then hire more people. Then you repeat the process and you get more money, and then ultimately you have people for every position, and you can start delegating everything. You don't have to do anything but the thing you absolutely love. But you have to go through that sacrificial period in order to get to that point. Do not expect that you can just start hiring people and suddenly all your problems are gone and you don't have to do the things that you don't like. No, you have to go through the sacrificial period in order to get to the point where you can do whatever you want. Now, after the editor, the usual hiring order is an appointment setter, then a project manager, then a back office or admin assistant, then a videographer, and then ultimately a closer, somebody who closes the sales deals, right? And then you can obviously scale from there. You can go into more specialized roles like VFX artists, like colorists, like sound designers, and all that stuff. But that depends on how you want to build your company. But the general hiring order is exactly the one I just mentioned. So usually when you start hiring, there's one other very common problem that comes up. The person that you hire doesn't deliver the same quality work that you do. Now, keep the following thing in mind. The person that you hired them for a reason. You hired them because they're good. You hired them because you like their work. You hired them because their portfolio, their past experience, etc. were convincing. Now, you got to get one thing out of your mind. This person is never ever gonna do the exact same thing as you would. And that was my biggest problem in the beginning. Because when I had the editor in place, I was literally sitting like 8 to 12 hours a day next to him, watching him edit client videos, making sure he does everything exactly the same way I would do it. Now that obviously made zero sense because now two people spent the time on the edit. And I thought to myself, well, if I sit next to him all the time, I could just do it myself. And that is actually where most videographers go back to being a freelancer because they're pissed that this other person is just stealing them even more time. But you gotta realize that The person will do great work for you if you brief them properly. It all stands or falls with the briefing. So when it comes to briefing people and you want to make sure they actually deliver what you want them to deliver, make sure that you have a fully outlined document where everything is talked about, right? Everything that you're looking for. And then also you will record a video, just record a quick loom where you go through that document and you explain exactly what you're looking for. On that document, there should be good examples, bad examples, how it should look like, how it should not look like, and why that's the case, so that your people, your team can really understand it fully. That type of communication makes all the difference. But then here's the bummer. Your team members are still not gonna do the work exactly the same way as you would. And you gotta accept that, right? Because nobody will be able to dive into your brain and just copy paste your vision. But they can do it similarly, and they can bring in their own style. And because they're specialized in only doing that one thing, like an editor who only edits, he's gonna be way better than you actually in the future, and he's gonna deliver greater work. Actually, once I have fully built my team in the video agency, I was suddenly in a position where I would literally see a new client being closed. So we had this communication channel on Slack where it just said, new deal won from the closer. Then I looked at it and was like, okay, nice. And the next thing I heard from this client was literally like, the project is delivered. And I looked at the finished video and it was amazing. And I did not touch a single thing on that project. And that was the moment when I realized, wow, I just freaking built an agency that is fully automated basically for me, right? And I just get to do the work that I love doing. And that's the exact way how it should be for you. So if you're currently in a position where you're making 10K a month or more and you want to take your business to over 100K a month, which is what I did with my video agency, then we should definitely talk. Because besides hiring, there are many more challenges and struggles that will come your way, like scaling your marketing operations, like scaling your sales systems, like actually building systems and workflows for your agency, like actually optimizing and becoming more efficient with your delivery processes. And all these things are what we're going to be working on together. You're going to have one-on-one access to me. You're going to have one-on-one access to my team of full-blown coaches. We are doing an amazing job. I'm not just saying that because I feel like it, no, because our data shows. We have scaled over 500 videographers to over 120K per year. We have scaled dozens of video businesses to multi-five figures every single month, and even have a couple students that have cracked 100K months already. So if you want to be the next person, then just DM me on Instagram at @IamNickMetzger, and we'll take the conversation from there.